Right. Now, first of all, let me explain what is lateral thinking, right? And our topic is modulus functions, and we are talking about diodes, right? What is lateral thinking? Now, just imagine if you want to learn mathematics, right? I mean, if you just learn symbols and shapes, basically you get stuck at one point because these shapes and symbols are not really connected to our life, isn't it? And that is why, most of the time, now we would say, especially in Sri Lanka, we have like 50% or majority, they fail all level mathematics, right? And the main reason, because, they don't learn mathematics as a natural element. They actually learn this as an abstract element, isn't it? You have a lot of numbers, symbols, manipulations, and then as a practice, these teachers, most of the teachers in all levels and also A levels, they ask you to practice mathematics. Mathematics is not something you can practice. It is something that you can understand, something that you can realize, something that you can actually, apply after realizing. It's not that you memorize, right? But unfortunately, in our country, we also memorize mathematics. Other than everything else, mathematics also been memorized. So this is a problem, right? So that is why we have to use lateral thinking, which means we have to use other sources where you can see applications of mathematics and then start learning mathematics of that. So that you won't have any problem in terms of understanding first of all. Because if you can't understand, there's no point of moving further, because once again, you will go back to that memory part and you will lose a track of everything after a few months. And when you're attempting a question, you will feel that it's difficult. Right now, this is the problem we have. Right? So we have to solve this problem. So we start with the concept called diode. And as per my knowledge, what diode is doing, it takes alternative current in and direct current is going out. Am I correct? So this is the O-level science concept. So I'm pretty sure all of you have done O-level. So you know this, right? For a fact. Now the nice thing is alternative current is something like a sine wave. I mean, it changes its direction, right? So if you come up with a small graphical interpretation for this, now imagine this is the electricity, let's say I, and this is time, right? So this is how the alternative current is changing its route. So usually this is given by I equals sine t. And note that you don't have to know the mathematics behind all these things, but I'm just giving you a rough sense, okay? Now you don't have to think, sine you don't have to think those things, right? So at the moment we are talking about the shape, because we all know alternative current changes its direction, right? Positive to negative, then negative to positive, positive to negative, so on and so forth, right? But imagine if you take off or if you rectify all the negatives to positive. Imagine you keep a mirror on this so that all the negatives become positive, right? Then these things are not there anymore, right? So now this is only having one direction, that is positive direction, right? And good news, if you look at this electricity movement, this is an expanded version. This is a very quick frequency we are talking about. So it would actually look like something like this. See? So when you connect all the hypes, it is just a straight line. And this is called direct current. So if someone questions what is the equation for this, we would say that is I equals modulus of sine t. So in this basic sense, with modulus function, what are we going to do? We are technically taking off the negativity out of that, isn't it? We actually rectify the negatives to be positive. So this is the idea of the modulus function. Right? It is not a mathematics kind of definition here. This is a little bit of science here. Let me tell you another lateral example. Now, most of the time, now if you ask from your parents and stuff, they would ask you to become a good person, right? Usually, parents ask you to become good people. Having a frame in their mind about good, they want you to become good all the time. It is also something like rectification, right? Isn't it? I mean, we all have goods and bads. So they want you to rectify the bads and make everything good. So they are asking something like this. Now, if this is u, right, what they need is modulus u, isn't it? They are asking a modulus u, isn't it? Education system is asking something like this, isn't it? I mean, there it cannot be good and bad. Maybe it's talented or skillful, something like that. So basically, modulus is everywhere. Modulus is not something only in mathematics. It's everywhere. So you don't have to think like in a very special format about modulus functions in mathematics. It's everywhere. Now let's see how we adopt this to mathematics, or how it has been adopted by mathematics. So let me erase this part, because you don't have to get these things down in a book. Right. Imagine you have 1. Oh, in simple sense, this is plus 1. If someone questions what is the modulus of plus 1, we would say this is 1 itself. And you don't have to talk about positivity or negativity. Are we clear? If it is plus 1, it is just 1. Now don't tell plus 1 is plus 1. Plus 1 is 1. Okay. And if you have minus 1, right, the modulus of that should be once again 1, not plus 1. That is 1. And this idea is called what? This is called the absolute value. Absolute value of something, isn't it? So this is how the modulus function is being defined. So now we can get down a small line out of that. So write down the modulus function, write down modulus function, whatever the notebook that you have, or even the phone notepad, whatever, write down modulus function is defined based on the absolute value, based on the absolute value of any constant or variable. Absolute value of any constant or variable. So if there's anyone who wants like simple explanation in Sinhalese, right, modulus function කියන්න ළමයි මේ හයින simple scene එකක් හරි මොනවා හරි එකක absolute value එක plus the minus අදාළ නැහැ, value එක විතරයි, the magnitude. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකේ size එක විතරයි අපිට ඕනේ. අපිට අදාළ නැහැ positive the negative කියලා. We can have a lot of context where positivity and negativity is being discussed. But irrespective of the context, you only take the absolute value, and that is called modulus function. Now you can see in the statement, I was talking about not only constants, but also variables, isn't it? Now that is where the good thing comes, because variables like x can also have a modulus nature, isn't it? Now in this case, we have to understand how this works. Now this is about our lesson. That means not only when constants are appearing, but also when. All right, someone is asking about sentence again. So the sentence is modulus function is defined based on the absolute value of any constant or a variable. So repeating again, modulus function is defined based on the absolute value of any constant or a variable. All right. Okay. So basically, now these are constants. You can have any number here, plus 1, plus 2, minus 1, minus 2, minus half, pi, minus pi, anything. Any number. You will only get the magnitude. समझ गया? तेरना? सिराने? आले. मुनिया awliya ginna. The guy who's in front of me. Okay. Chillege innone kattine am bayala inne nagaara inne barai nidara inne ba. So look at this. Now this is a variable, right? Now when you take a variable, we have a small doubt, right? Because variable means we don't know whether it's positive or negative. So we can just state that, this is just x. Because once again, it will be unknown. We don't know whether it's positive or negative. So we have to build a logic here, isn't it? So this is called modeling, or else we actually shift the modeling to something that we don't know. Are we clear? Mathematics. We start with the things which are concrete, and maybe that is also abstract, but I mean, which seems concrete, but then we apply it to a different layer of abstraction. We change the layer of abstraction. Again, අපිට කොහොමද දේවල් පේන්නේ නැහැ. For an example, numbers කියන්නේ අතර තියෙනවද? නෑනේ බං බොරුනේ. දැන් 1 කියලා එකක් නෑනේ. You all understand this point, right? Do we have something called 1? No. We can have one car, one elephant, one manyoka or something. There's nothing called 1. දැන් කවුරු හරි අඩේ බොරු කියනවලු මේ තියෙන 1 කියලා. No, no, this is not 1. This is just a symbol to represent 1. දැන් මේකත් 1 නේ බලන්න. This is a representative of 1, right? There's no such thing called 1. It is a concept. It's in your mind. So if something is in your mind, that's called an abstraction, right? තව කියන්න examples. දැන් කට්ටිය කියනවා මම ඔයාට ආදරේ. ආදරේ කියලා මගුලක් තියෙනවද? No. It's in your mind. සෙනෙහස. Mind. It's in your mind. Physically, no. Abstraction, right? All the feelings, they are also in your mind. So you have to understand these things are either called abstractions or the simple word is a feeling, isn't it? A number is a feeling, isn't it? But number is much more stronger than a feeling. Why is that? These numbers can have logics and it can have sequences. It can connect, isn't it? That is why you love these numbers and shapes and stuff. You love the abstraction. You love the logics behind it. Rather than working with the concrete things, you like to work in your mind. So that's why we are in a mathematics class today, right? Okay. So coming back to the topic, when we have a variable, now we have to build a format understanding how it can be positive. So we can actually take examples from numbers and build the logic. So let's see how it happens. If it is +1, this is 1. If it is -1, this is 1. Never call it +1 again. It's just the magnitude, right? So if you have -2, modulus is 2. So let's build a model, right? So let me erase this as well. But I mean, I would recommend if you are writing a note, better write few examples because these things might connect you again, right? So example, I'm writing modulus on constant. See, -1 modulus is equal to 1, right? And if you have pi modulus is pi, something like that. Modulus of 3, let's say +3 is just 3. So let me tell you another nice example. Let's say square root of 4. Square root of 4. Square root of 4 is plus or minus 2 whole thing squared square root, isn't it? Technically speaking, plus or minus 2 is just the representative of the magnitude. So we can write this is magnitude of 2 whole thing squared square root. So square root of 4 is nothing but 2. There's no pluses, there's no minuses. At the meantime, you can tell this is plus or minus as well with this logic, right? So we can use it whenever we want, in the way we want, right? But the best answer would be modulus 2, right? Isn't it? We can call +2 or we can call -2. But the best answer would be modulus of 2, right? This is another typical example of usage of modulus. So if you want, you can get down these examples. People who are online, if you have a notebook, you should be having a notebook by the way, you can actually get this down. समझ गया? कैमरा स्विच हो रहा है? ठीक है. हरने? modulus තේරෙනවනේ? මේක නිකන් හරකෙටුණා තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන් concept එක. I mean, you would have to come to a combined maths class to understand what is modulus. දැන් හිතන්න මේක කර කර ඉන්නකොට දැන් මේ classroom එකේ ඉස්සරහින් බව්වෙක් ගියා කියනකො බව්වට මේක අහන් ඉඳි තේරෙනවා. අම්මට ඉතින් මේකනේ modulus කියලා. උඩ කියන්න බෑ බව් විතරනේ කියන්නේ. නැත්නම් يعني that much simple it is. Right? Okay. So I'm going to erase this part. That is why I'm waiting here. Online people, you guys are getting and connecting, right? බලන්න මේ වෙලේ තේරිච්ච කට්ටිය අතපය උස්සනවා. The people who understood this, can you raise your hand up to this particular point? මම ඔක්කොම අත උස්සන ගම් බලන්න. පස් දෙනෙක් දොයිද? Guys, ඔය Zoom එකේ තියෙනවා අතක් වගේ බටන් එකක්. When you press it, that's called raise the hand button, right? So when you press it, you can actually respond. Or you have this thing called mic button. You can mute and unmute it. When you unmute it, you can talk. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ අර තව තියෙනවා නිකන් වීඩියෝ වගේම ලකුණක් තියෙන symbol එකක් තියෙනවා. When you press it, your video turns on so that you can connect, right? Now these technologies are made so that you can connect comfortably and make it feel home, right? So I'm not going to repeat. So you can actually use these reactions to always respond, right? Then only we feel connected. Otherwise, it is not an online class. නැත්නම් ඕන බලන්න මම මේක රෙකෝඩ් කරලා රෙකෝඩින් එක බලලා පොඩි ආතල්ලයක් කරා ඉගෙන ගත්ත කියලා බොරුවක් හිතාගෙන ඉන්න පුළුවන්, right? But it is not the case. You have to learn live because then only you will feel it, right? තේරෙන්නේ නැතුව ඉගෙන ගන්න නැහැ. නැත්නම් අතර මේ combined content ඕන තරම් තියෙනවා YouTube එකේ දාලා මමත් දාලා දෙනවා අවුරුදු 3කට කලින්, right? But if you can learn by looking at the content which is on a video, that is not mathematics, right? ඔයාට ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන් different other stuff like physics, chemistry, because that's a bunch of knowledge using a YouTube video. But mathematics is not like that. By looking at a video, you can't learn. You need to react. You need to ask questions. You need to bring logics. You have to break logics. You have to, fight with the teacher sometimes to get your knowledge sorted. That is how you learn mathematics, right? Even at mathematics, pukari hari monar scene right? Okay. Let me erase this and go to the great problem that we have. What if there's a variable and how we understand the modulus concept in it, right? Okay. Look at this now. Imagine we are going to discuss about the modulus notation first of all, right? So this is the modulus notation, right? So anything goes inside this, okay? Anything turns out to be just a magnitude, isn't it? Magnitude, isn't it? So imagine you put -1 inside, you get 1, isn't it? And you put a sad human being, minus. You get a happy human being. Modulus function, right? Okay. So technically speaking, modulus function, it's like that. That's the nature. It makes all the negativities to positivities. But the good news is we don't even call it positive. We only take the magnitude. And that's the thing. We technically make them what? Positive only. But when it's positive, there's no sign here. It's only the magnitude. Are we clear? The people who are online, you get my point here? How the modulus nature is actually treating you? Right, good. Right. So now let's apply this to modulus of x. Okay. Now we have to counter argue. When you say modulus of x, there can be negative x's and positive x's. Are we clear? When you say modulus of x, there can be negative x's and positive x's. So I would say, right, if x is greater than or equal to 0, in other words, this is non-negative. Negative nati ona magula. That is, x being greater than or equal to 0. Then we would say that it is positive x. We don't change anything. You keep it as it is. If x is greater than or equal to 0, look at this. If x is greater than or equal to 0, right, we keep it as x. If x is less than 0, we need to multiply that by -1. Then only it makes positive, or else just the magnitude comes out. Negative -1 multiply. But that's what we have to do in order to get this operations nature in mathematics. So we would write this is -6. This is the theory. So if x is non-negative, keep it as a positive. If x is negative, make it positive by multiplying by -1. Right. So now we have y equals modulus x explained. Right. Shall we get this down? मैं टक्कर दागा मुझे सीन करो ओल्ड आसना में बाबाला में अटे कोटू number 1 इरके अंदर ओल्ड नहीं if you want or else just ignore, go to the abstraction. So if you are done with that, then comes the next task. And basically, this is where you start learning the lesson and this is where you end learning it. Right? This is all you need to know. Okay. Now, we can actually explain this in two different ways. Number one, we would say y is equal to modulus x, right? In two different ways. One is y equals x where x is greater than or equal to 0. And y equals minus x when x is less than 0. Correct? There's no doubt about it, right? Same thing written here. Because y is modulus of x. So y has two different variations. One variation is y equals x when x is non-negative. Other one is y equals minus x when x is negative. Because you multiply by minus 1 to make it positive. Some people, they keep this thing turned on so that I can't even understand. They understand, right? Thumbs up. Make a theory the people who did not understand this thing under any circumstances. People who did not understand, can you raise your hands, please? Anyone? Okay, Tepuli, you didn't understand it. Can you type it on the chat, please? Understood, right? Okay. Because the second question I asked was like whether you didn't understand, but your hand was turned on. All right, cool. So I guess that all the people have realized by now. Okay, now look at this. We have y equals modulus x explained by y equals x when x is greater than or equal to 0. So I'm trying to understand this graphically. I'm trying to understand this particular point. I'm going to understand this particular point graphically now. Okay, what is a graphical understanding? This is my y-axis. This is my y-axis, and this is my x-axis, right? So I have y equals x, all levels, right? Y equals mx plus c. Gradient is 1. Can x equal to 1 them or y equal to 1? X equal to 2 them or y equal to 2? X equal to 3 them or y equal to 3? If x is 4, y is 4. Very simple one, right? So it should be a very symmetric line. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. So let me use a different color. So it should look like this. It's a very straight kind of a line. Actually, it's a straight line. It looks like this. You see? Goes like 1, 1, right? 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Now, why I'm starting that from here? Because it specifically says this is when x is greater than or equal to 0. So this is x. It is greater than or equal to 0 in this area, right? That is x being greater than or equal to 0, right? So this is where x is greater than or equal to 0. In this area, only you can have this. Otherwise, usually y equals x goes toward this way as well. But it is not applicable here because they have a context, right? And we have y equals minus x, very simple. When x is minus 1, y is plus 1. So if x is minus 1 here, y will be plus 1. Only. If x is 0, y is 0. So you get something like this. And you get this when x is less than 0. Maybe x is less than 0. Right? This area is x is less than 0. This way. See, this is x is less than 0. You see? And what you see here is called the curve for y equals modulus x. Are we clear? So shall we get this down with the explanation here? Quickly. Slowly quickly is better. Just calm down and put it. Right. So let's continue. Now I used a term called curve here, right? Curve. Now this is a very special technical term in A levels because when you go from different stages, you actually meet different types of glossaries, right? For example, the people are talking about science, they have their own glossary. People are talking about physics, they have their own glossary. People are talking about religion, they have their own glossary. Now, if you don't know the glossaries, you are not in that caliber, I would say. For example, if you go for a party and if you don't know the different names of drinks and stuff, sometimes they corner you. Right? Similarly, in mathematics, there are few nice terms that you get into the caliber. One term like that is the curve. Now, we have to understand when you say curve, we are not talking about curves. Curves. I'll explain this properly. Now, the term curve in mathematics is not for curved things. Even this is a curve. Yes, in literal sense, curve means curved stuff. Now, last time also I brought this example. There's this song, right? Love your curves and all your edges, right? Again, I can't remember the name of the singer. John Legend. So basically, he has brought mathematics terms in the general sense so that I can get an example here, right? So he is telling curves and edges, that is something else. In our mathematical context, curve doesn't have to be curved. And all the curves are not curved. You get my point? So write down this statement. This will be very valuable for you guys. All the curves are not curved. All the curves are not curved. All the curves are not curved. And all the curved things are not curves. And all the curved things are not curves. Make a partner statement there. It looks like poetry, but it's very important. In Sinhalese, we call this vakra, right? But I'm just telling you in case if someone wants to understand Sinhalese term, curve Sinhalese vakra. Right? But somehow it's vakra. If I knew the Tamil term, it would have been very nice. But unfortunately, I know only Tamil slang words. Right? Okay. So let's continue. Mamaya Magana. Now I'm going to brief it quickly. Same thing, but brief it quickly so that we can actually get that thing established in our mind. So we have y equals modulus x, and we write modulus x when x is non-negative or x is greater than or 0, that is just x. When x is negative, this is minus x, right? And then we get the y-axis and x-axis, y-axis and x-axis, right? So when x is greater than or equal to 0, when x is greater than or equal to 0, when x is greater than or equal to 0, we have y equals x. Right? So when x is less than 0, we have y equals minus 6. That is when x is minus 1, y is plus 1, x is minus 2, y is plus 2, x is minus 3, y is plus 3, so on and so forth. Right? So we get y equals modulus of x. Band make a theory check අර මෙහෙම දානකොට එරටම තේරිලා. අවුලන්නේ අවුලන්නේ. අනිත් බබාලාගේ මොකද තේරෙන්නේ නැද්ද? අම්මට සිරි. Very good. We have the Tamil name for the curve, but that is in Tamil, but I'm trying to read. Wait, I'll read it. I think I can read Vakra ne va shit. That is for sure Valai. Yes, Valaivu. So I was going to read it. It came up. I can read Tamil, but speaking. And who's that guy who supports us? We have to thank that guy. Very good. I think I should get your help. Animatuge nama wenna nanogoda thanks karan. ඒ chat එකේ ඉන්න බබා වෙන බලයිවෝ කියන එක එපෙක් කෙනා. අම්මටුගේ නම TA. sorry. Akesh. Thanks Akesh. Nandri. එච්චරයි දන්නේ වැඩි පුරාන්න එපා කුණුවර විය. හරි. Okay, let's continue. Now my question is, now we all understand what is y equals modulus x. But if someone questions what is y equals modulus x minus 1, modulus x plus 2, I mean, we can have different variations, right? We can have quadratic functions, we can have cubic functions. On the other syllabus again. But I mean, we can have, right? Modulus of sin x, I mean, like the one that I showed you initially with the diode, modulus sin x, something like this. So there should be mathematics behind it. But good news, we don't have such content. We have a very simple, easy content. ඒකනේ මම කියන්නේ A level lazy කියන්නේ. දැන් A level අමාරු වෙලා කවුරුහරි ටීචර් කෙනෙක් කියනවා කියන්නේ බුවාට එක අමාරුයි. I mean, if someone says A level mathematics is the hardest subject, A level mathematics is like a divine subject, that means bugger has not done anything other than A level. I mean, when you do A levels, right, your O level seems pretty easy. So when you go to the university, when you complete the first 2 years, I mean, you feel that A level is simple. When you do your MSc, you feel that your bachelor's is gone part. That's how the mind actually escalates to different layers, right? So A level cannot be difficult in that sense. Only thing is that right at this moment, now when you are in this particular stage, your mind might not be developed up that to a standard. And my job is to what? Enhance it. And I'm doing it. And if you feel it, I'm at it. And if you don't feel it, still I'm at it. Because I can't teach everyone, right? The people who get it, they escalate themselves. I only guide them. But don't worry, don't worry, I will escalate all of you, right? Him down, right? It takes time. But now we are going to go for a challenge, right? So let's try what happens when you have y equals modulus of x minus 1. I would say this is a typical example once again, right? So let's say we have y equals modulus of x minus 1, okay? Let's start writing this. There is modulus of x minus 1 is when x minus 1 greater than or equal to 0. This is plus of x minus 1 because we keep it as it is. We don't change anything, right? Same logic. If x minus 1 is less than 0, this should be negative of x minus 1. There's no doubt about it, right? Same thing. Now the written part is done. Really, right? Now we have to do a small simplification, right? Because now you can simplify this for sure. All these 4 cases are simplifiable, right? Because here you have small bracketing off, right? And here inequality. Grade 7 again, very simple. So we can now write this is x minus 1 when x is greater than or equal to 1. This is minus x plus 1 when x is less than 1. Are we clear? So now we can start sketching this. So let's try how to sketch this. So this is my y-axis and this is my x-axis. So I'm going to start with the very first one, that is y equals x minus 1 when x is greater than or equal to 1. So I can check what happens when x equals 0. If x is 0, y is equal to online when x equals 0, what is y? Just turn on your mic and tell me when x equals 0, what is y in this equation? If x is equal to Anna, can you tell your name, Buddha?
Yeah.
Namagan, Bavaneva. Namagyana Baba? Sehat. Thanks, Sehat. Right. So this is minus 1. Okay. When y is equal to 0, same equation. When y equals to 0, x is y is 0, x is plus 1. Because you can put this minus 1 to this side, this is plus 1. So, to sketch a straight line, we need only 2 points, right? I think points that connect one straight line. So, let's connect them. When x value is 0, y value is minus 1. Minus 1. X value is 0. You can make a point. Grade 9, Cartesian coordinate plane. x0, y minus 1. 0, minus 1. y0, x plus 1. y0, x plus 1. X plus 1. So, I'm going to connect them. Apo Mahatuna. Now, dotted line. You see? So this is when x is greater than 1 or equal. Are we clear? When x is greater than 1 only we can have this. That's the reason I have dotted lines here. Okay, Akesh is asking, sir, can you write in both hands? Yes, I am ambidextrous, right? But the thing is, I am much more used to left. So I'm using left, but I can write from right hand as well. So don't worry about it. It's not a very difficult thing. I think if you practice a little bit, it happens. But fortunately or unfortunately, it has come to me automatically, but I don't know how that happened. Okay, let's continue. So basically, if you look at the other way around, which is y equals minus x plus 1, right? So let me write it here. Y equals minus x plus 1. Once again, we can check what happens when x equals 0 and y equals 0, right? You get 2 points. But when x equals 0, let me write it here. Or shall I write it here? Because I'm not sure we have enough space, right? We can write when x equals 0, y equals plus 1. And when y equals 0, x is minus 1. So the coordinates. So we have 0, 1 and minus 1, 0. Are we clear? So we can mark it here now. See, 0, 1. That means x value is 0, y value is 1. Right? This is 1. So we have 1 point here. Right? Other one, I have made a mistake. X equals 0, y is plus 1. Y is 0, yes, plus 1. Very good. Because if x is 0, yes, y is plus 1. But when y is 0, minus x goes to the other side. So this is not minus 1, plus 1. People online, put your attention. This is plus 1. Okay? So 1, 0 is here, right? This 1, 0. So we can easily connect because we are asking where x is less than 1, right? Because second curve is based when x is less than 1. So you can see another cocta has come up, and this is also a curve, right? And this is y equals modulus of x minus 1. Shall we get this down quickly? Right. I hope you are all set. Shall we try a question maybe? Example, let's try a question, okay? So I'm going to erase this. If anyone is writing, just continue, no worries. I'll use my whiteboard and give you the question. Let's write y equals modulus 2x plus 1. This is your first question, okay? Y equals modulus 2x plus 1. Please get this down. And for the people who are writing down the previous, workout, I will take the board off so that you can write down. All the others, please get down the question. This is question number 1. That is y equals modulus 2x plus 1. Michelle, this is not a part of our homeworks, right? Can you check last week? Maybe from the phone also you can check. Cool. So get this down. Guys, try this. Okay. ගණන් ගන්න එපා මේක දැම්මා white balance එක නැසෙන සුදු පාට වෙන ඇත්තම සුදු යනවා කළු වෙනවා. හදුවද? So the people who want to get the workout, you can do the workout. And when you are done, or by giving you a considerable time, I am going to work it on the board. So the question is y equals modulus 2x plus 1. Are we clear? So I'm going to give you like 5 to 10 minutes. I think 5 minutes is more than enough. But take your time, slowly do it. Do mistakes, learn through mistakes, no problem. Do it slowly, okay? Do it very slowly. Okay. So our question is y equals modulus 2x minus 1. Okay. So let's see how quickly we can do it. So that is y equals modulus of 2x plus 1 is 2x plus 1. So we have modulus of 2x plus 1, and when 2x plus 1 is non-negative or greater than or equal to 0, this is positive of 2x plus 1. So I'll just keep it as it is. And it is negative of 2x plus 1 when 2x plus 1 is less than 0. So you can further simplify. This is 2x plus 1 when x is greater than or equal to minus half. And this is minus 2x minus 1 when x is less than minus half. So we can write 2x plus 1 is y equals when x is greater than or equal to minus half. This is a plus 1. When x value is 0, y value is 1. When y value is 0, see y is 0, x is minus half. Harnet, these are 2 points. One ordinary, aheng karana bulane, aheng. You don't have to write the things down. All make a live again, make a lagun ham penne ko. Me mana me all GPL case, me lakunu deni ban right? So y equals minus 2x minus 1 when x is less than or equal to minus half. So when x value is 0, y value is minus 1. And when y value is 0, x value is minus half. Isn't it? So now you can sketch. Very simple. So we have the y-axis and we have the x-axis. Right? When x is 0, y is plus 1. And then we have x being minus half and y being 0. So somewhere here. And this is valid only when x is greater than or equal to minus half. So this is this. And then we have x equals 0, y is minus 1. So somewhere here. Once again, minus half 0 is this. So we have to connect this with dotted lines from here to here. And then, right? So this is y equals modulus 2x plus 1. Very simple, right? Okay, hands up the people who understand this completely and you have done it correct. Okay. 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 So out of 15, how many years? Better the Ernagati Lame Atusan, Lajaneva, Harry Karlanidi. Right? Right. So 8 people. Okay, 9. Okay, now put your hands down. People who does not understand, those now you can actually raise your hand. Anyone who did not understand, you can raise your hand. Okay, so I think that all have understood. So sorted. So now comes your question number 2. So let me get question number 2 for you. Right. Question number 2. Y equals, let's try, minus x minus 2. And question number 3. Y equals x plus 2. Okay, let's turn it around. Let's call this question number 3. This is question number 2 for you. Try modulus x plus 2 and then do modulus question number 2 is y equals modulus x plus 2. Question number 3, y equals modulus of minus x minus 2. देखा मैं करूँ मुझे double speed दे करूँ අත් දෙකෙන් කරන්න යන්න එපා. තනි අතින් හිමීට කරන්න. කොල්ලෝ. Joshua is asking, sir, 3 එකෙන් එන්නේ 2 එකේ upside down image එකක් නේද? නෑනේ. No, Joshua. It's not. So do it properly and check. And when you are done with 2 and 3, can you send your answers to the WhatsApp group, please? I think all of you are in the WhatsApp group. Right? So when you are done, send to the WhatsApp group. Question number 2 and question number 3. I am waiting for the answers on the group. I think you all are in the WhatsApp group, I guess. So if you are, if you have done any workout, please send on the WhatsApp group. You can also do the same thing, right? Right? Just take a snap, send on WhatsApp so that we can compare. මේ වැඩේ හොඳටම තේරුණත් ඒත් කරන්න හරි. Even if you feel like this is 100% understood, still, try to understand further because there's something hidden here that I haven't taught you yet. And if you get that point, things will be crystal clear. Right? මම කියන්න කලින්ම තේරුණොත් pattern. So I'm waiting for the answers. වැඩි ඉවරෙච්ච ගමන් ටින් ගාලා WhatsApp group එකට දාන්න. බලන් ඉන්න එපා. පොඩ්ඩක් වෙන පොත තනියද? Waiting for the answers. මේ ගෙදරින කට්ටිය කම්මැලි කමට ඉන්නවා කරන් සේහත් has sent it. Yeah, Yosho, yeah, correct. So can you take a screenshot and send to the WhatsApp group, please? Both of them. Yes. That's good. Please, others also, please work out and send your answers. Right? Because by this only, I can understand that, the things are happening down there, actually out there. You can't call it down there. All right. Someone is asking, it's correct. Who's that? Yeah, it's correct. I think that is Husna Fahim, someone. So that's correct. But the thing is, you have done only one. So I need both of them. So send it separately or together, right? And there's something that you have to notice. Okay, that's the main point. There's something that you have to notice. So please, all of you, be quick, super quick, and do it and send to the WhatsApp group. That's where we can understand that you are active, proactive, and doing it. If you are not doing it, there's no point I'm shouting at here. So you guys need to do this, right? So let me erase the green board, right? And explain this scenario. Done. So we have y equals modulus minus x minus 2. And also we have y equals modulus x plus 2. Now this is same as y equals modulus minus of x plus 2, right? Isn't it? That is, when you take minus sign out, that is x plus 2, right? But anything that goes inside the modulus, what happens? The negativity rectifies, becomes positive. So this is nothing but modulus of x plus 2, right? Isn't it? So, I mean, if you just do one thing, that is more than enough. Isn't it? So we have modulus of x plus 2, which is x plus 2 when x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 0, minus of x plus 2, that is when x plus 2 is less than 0. So modulus of x plus 2 is actually x plus 2 when x is greater than or minus 2, minus x minus 2 when x is less than minus 2, right? Right? So a sketch should look like this. That's minus 2. This is plus 2. That's it, right? How many? Anyway, so what's the special point here? The special point is that if you have something like this, modulus of minus x is modulus of x, right? Modulus of minus x is same as modulus of x. Can we get this down? Are we clear? Right. So now let's think further, right? Let's think further. Now, when you look at these modulus functions, seems like you always get this kind of shape, right? But there could be other shapes as well. I mean, it doesn't have to be always that side. So let's check another question. I'm going to let you do it so that you will self-realize what's happening here. This is question number 4 for you, right? Question number 4. We have y equals minus the modulus x plus 1. Minus the modulus x plus 1. Y equals minus the modulus x plus 1. Think about this. Y equals minus the modulus x plus 1. So I'm going to write this is minus the modulus x plus 1. So that is minus of x plus 1 when x plus 1 is greater than or equal to 0. Because what is inside has to be positive when that is greater than or equal to 0 or non-negative. Having an additional negativity is a problem of the function, so we have to place it anyway. So we can't avoid that. Similarly, the other one is minus of x plus 1, but the minus. Right? The para minus plus right? So basically, that you work on your head. Because x plus 1, the negative you have to have. But the negative of negative is positive, right? So we have just x plus 1 when x plus 1 is less than 0. Correct? Make a theory. Right. So we have minus of x plus 1 when x plus 1 is greater than or equal to 0. And we have x plus 1 when x plus 1 is less than 0. Good. Good. Right? Now let's simplify and let's see whether we can look at the sketch here. So we have minus x minus 1 when x is greater than or equal to minus 1. And we have x plus 1 when x is less than minus 1. Right? So now we can continue. So we can write y equals minus x minus 1 when x is greater than or equal to minus 1 we are looking. So when x value is 0, y value is minus 1. And when y value is 0, y value is 0, minus x becomes plus 1, that is minus 1. Minus 1. Correct? x0 by minus 1. All level equations, substitutions. Y value is 0, minus x plus x, that is minus. Correct? So I'm going to sketch this part first, okay? Because later we can calculate the other one, right? So this is just one calculation. So let's sketch this guy. So this is my y-axis. This is my x-axis. X value 0, y value minus 1. X value 0, y value minus. X value 0, y value minus. X value minus 1, y value 0. Check. When x is greater than or equal to minus 1. Again, when x is greater than or equal to minus 1 is this side. When x is greater than or equal, which means that is when x is greater than or equal. X is greater than or equal to minus 1. So from here, if you take, right, x is greater than or equal is your right hand side. See? That's it, right? That is when x is greater than or equal to minus 1. Click near, right? So let me use this red color here. So this is it. Now we have to check other way around as well, right? So there we can write, we are looking at y equals x plus 1 when x is less than minus. So this is x equals 0, y equals 1. Y equals 0, x equals minus 1. So x equals 0, y equals 1 means somewhere here. This is same point, x0, x0, y minus. But you are not going to connect like this. That should be when x is less than minus 1. So that should be dotted here. So it is not the usual shape that we had. Normally it was like this. Now it's this. The piece name. Complete it. Make a theory the people who understood this. Hello. Right. Right. Are we all clear? Then right? So let's talk about how the A-level examination structure and what we are going on right now is connected. Right. So when you look at A-level combined mathematics syllabus, there are purely two parts. One is pure mathematics and applied mathematics, right? So let me elaborate it a little bit more. I hope I can erase this now. Let's have a look at this. Very important. People who are doing A-levels at any stage. A-level examination has two main branches. One is pure mathematics. So let's call it pure math. And then the other branch is applied math. Right. So under pure math, you get two things. One is 10 short questions and 7 main questions. But out of 7, you only answer 5 questions, isn't it? So I call them big questions. Applied maths. So we have 10 short questions. You have to do them for sure. You can't ignore any of them. And 5 questions once again out of 7. Abe paper hari lastana simple lekkene ka. Hitana dana loku ekene neme. And for every short question, you get 25 marks. Okay. Every short question, you get 25 marks. This carries 25 marks. So 10 times 25 marks. You see? So that gives you 25 times 10 done. 250. Multiply kan done. When you are like in grade 6, people think when you are good at multiplying, they are good mathematicians. Crazy. Mata multiplication by 10 වසරේ. So multiplication හොඳට පුළුවන් වුණා කියලා ළමයාට maths පුළුවන් කියලා අම්මලා වැරදිලාම maths කරන්න යනවා. ඊට පස්සේ fail වෙනවා. So if you are good at multiplication, I mean you are good for a grocery store, tea shop, right? But nowadays that is also not viable because you have calculators, cashiers, computers and stuff, right? So if you are really good at multiplication, don't think that you are good at mathematics, because your thinking has to be more advanced to do mathematics, which means it doesn't mean that it is difficult. It means that you need to excel in something else, not something that is told you. Okay? අර කියලා තියෙන බොරුවක්. එහෙනම් අහුවෙලා අවුරුද්දයක් විතර ටොපික් එක හැවුවොත් එහෙම F අකුරක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. So know that you need to understand, not to cram down or just calculate like a machine. Okay? Because we don't even have such questions. Okay? There may short questions given. Most of these questions, question is given, answer is given. We just have to connect. Right? Really only we have answers. I mean questions and answers form. Okay? Out of these 5 questions you get 150 each. And 5 times 150 is going to be 750, right? So you can see there's 1000 marks. So for sure, this is going to be another 1000, right? So that will be altogether 2000 marks. Isn't it? Right? And then you divide this by 20, right? And then you get out of 100. Okay? Usually, it is said that 45 is the S grade, then 55 is the C grade, 65 is the B grade, and 75 is the A grade. එහෙම තමයි කියලා තියෙන්නේ. S එක 45, C එක 55, B is 65, A is 7. Good for the term test, but not in A levels, because it depends on the difficulty of the paper, right? I mean, if the paper is very difficult, I mean, if you get a curve like this, and this is 100 marks, and this is 0, if the paper is very difficult, camera pain, right? So if the paper is very difficult, the people who are getting low marks is higher, right? In paper අමාරුයි කියන්නේ ලකුණු අඩුවෙන් ගන්න කට්ටිය වැඩි. So it would look like this. And if you have people getting good marks, that means you have more of them, that means paper is easy, right? මේ තියෙන lazy paper එක, මේ තියෙන අමාරු paper. When the paper is easy, these numbers will go up. Again, this is this case. Paper is easy. If the paper is difficult, these numbers will go down. It's not that always fixed, because this is not O levels. තමයි O levels කියලා කියන්නේ ලංකාවේ ලොකු සීන් දැම්මට ටියුෂන් ක්ලාස් යනවා සබ්ජෙක්ට් 6කට විතර. But one of the easiest examinations. But unfortunately, ලංකාවේ මේ ළමයින්ගෙන් 50% විතර ඔක fail. So because of that, people think O level mathematics and O level subject is very difficult. Technically speaking, ලංකාවේ O level තමයි shittiest O level. Sri Lankan national syllabus O level is the shittiest O level, because you can see Edexcel O level, Cambridge O level is much more higher and advanced. ලංකාවේ O level තරම් gob exam එක කොහෙවත් නැහැ. Reason, because for the O level pass people, there are government jobs. Even for the people who pass 8th grade, still we have government jobs. Atta pass කියලා කියන්නේ. අපි නිකන් බයිට් එකකට කියන්නේ හැබැයි ඇත්තටම ළමයින් චක්‍රයක වඩවද චක්‍ර ලේක right. ඒවැ තියෙනවා අට පාස් කට්ටියට job. Right? I don't want to mention those professions, then it can be disrespect to anyone who is doing such a job, right? But ඒක වැරදි. හරිද? හරිනම් අඩුම තරමේ all level mathematics වත් pass වෙන්න ඕනේ කියන එක වැරදි. That is wrong. Because all level mathematics is a very simple examination where you learn only addition, multiplication, subtraction and division. You know, each and every branch, and you do some cramming called geometry that is coming from Euclid's Elements. That's a book written by Euclid. You just cram them down. No one even knows what is geometry. in O levels. Boruak karan, right? And set theory. Set theory is like common sense. Set theory was even understood by even the ancient people in Sri Lanka. Very simple stuff, right? It's ඕක නෙමෙයි mathematics කියන්නේ, right? බොරුවට පොඩි කාලේ දැන් අර එක එක චක්‍ර කටපාඩම් කර කර ටීවී ඇඩ්වර්ටයිස්මන්ට් දදා ළමයිම ක්ලාස් වලට ගේනවා ඉස්කෝලේ ටීචර්ස් ලටත් ඕක කරනවා. I mean you do some bullshit actually. මම ඇත්ත කියන්නේ. all mathematics කියලා කියන්නේ එහෙම පට්ටාමාරු exam එකක් නෙමෙයි. And if you feel like all examination is difficult because you were taught wrong and you learned wrong. Mathematics is about unlearning. Okay? Mathematics is all about unlearning. ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙන හැම එකම අමතක කරන එක තමයි mathematics කියලා කියන්නේ. This doesn't have frames. This has only models. This doesn't have any memory part, like knowledge part. This is about understanding. And when you understand it for the very first time, that's all about it. You don't have to practice. If you practice, that is not mathematics. That is called cookery. Practice කරන්න cookery ළමයි කෑම and practice කරන්න ඕන. You ask from your mothers, like, you know, usually you need to practice to have a proper, you know, food shape. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් සාමාන්‍ය ගෑන් ළමෙක් බැඳපු ගමන් දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ අම්මලා ගොඩක් කට්ටිය ගෑන් ළමයි වෙලා ඉඳලා තමයි පස්සේ බැඳේ. ඒතකොට ඒ බැඳාම එකපාරට ඒගොල්ලන්ට කෑම යන්න බෑ. But if they have done this practice from a long time, they would. But usually they adopt it after like 5-6 years. කරලා තමයි පුරුදු වෙන්නේ. That is cookery. I'm not telling that cookery is bad. Cookery is a very nice thing. නැත්නම් අපිට කන්න නෑ. Right? But mathematics is not cookery. කවුරු හරි කියනවා නම් ගණන් ගොඩාක් හදන්න කියලා ඒ කියන්නේ හරකෙක්. Because හරකුන්ට practice කරන්න ඕනේ. මෙන්න තනකොළ කන්නේ මෙතන. ඔයා ඉන්නේ මෙතන. දැන් කිරි ගන්නවා. So that is called cognitive modeling. You just read this psychology part, cognitive modeling, that is actually, you know, introduced by the psychologist called Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud කියන්නේ හරකෙක් because he has actually used the dog's, you know, format to understand human being. ඉතින් හිතන්න western psychology කොච්චර යට තියෙන කියලා. Right? අර බල්ලොන්ව train කරන system එකේ මිනිස්සු ගැන හිතන. Right? නැත්නම් වඳුරුන්ව train කරන system එකේ මිනිස්සු ගැන හිතන. Good thing. අර පස්සේ Charles Darwin ඇවිල්ලා දෙක connect කරපු හින්දා අපි ඉතින් කොට ගිහලා ඉන්නවා. But technically speaking, this practice model is not good for mathematics. You will never become a mathematician or like any application in mathematics, application in sense of any professional by doing this cramming thing. At one point, you will fail. I have seen students who are doing mathematics by practicing, and when they go to the examination, they fail. But they are telling, we have done all these past papers, we have done all these questions, all these things, that book, this book. But basically, you are gaining nothing. Right? So you have to be very careful. When you come to mathematics, it's not about observing. You need to work out, not work out once again in the practice sense, you need to figure out how to do it. And for that, you need to understand it. That is why I am again and again explaining the same thing, how understanding process works. But we have several fields, you see. This understanding has different contexts. So good news, in our A-level paper, each and every context is predefined. For an example, we know question number 11 of pure mathematics is coming from algebra and that is coming from quadratics and polynomials. Simple. අපි question එකේ එන්නේ කොහෙන්ද කියලා දන්නවා. බලන්න මේ මෙච්චර lazy paper ලංකාවේ තියෙනවා. Right? Trigonometric question is always number 17. Differentiation is always number 14. Integration is 15. Complex numbers is 13 with matrices. මේක අපි දන්නවා. The thing is, you don't try to understand, instead you practice. මේ පොරු වැඩක් කරනවා ගණන් හදලා කට්ටිය මතක් කරනවා. Have I done something like this before? මීට කලින් මේම question එකක් කරලා තියෙනවා. You are searching through your memory. Memory is something that fades away. Memory කියන්නේම අමතක වෙන දෙයක්. So you need to remember to forget. Very important. මතක තියාගන්න අමතක කරන්න ඕනෙමයි. When you are going out of this classroom, you can't remember anything. You should be able to open from the scratch and work out anything given to you. That is a skill. Very important. මම මේ ආතල් එකට කියන එක නෙමෙයි මේක පට්ටම සිරාසීන්නක් කියන්නේ. This is how I learned. This is how I taught for the last 8 or 10 years, whatever. Right? So technically speaking, you need to understand this structure to play this game. That is the only reason I am giving you the structure. So I have sent a PDF on your WhatsApp group called 9 Colors of Math. This is the new way of I am looking at this combined mathematics syllabus. So where I have divided all these structures in 9 several, you know, shapes. So when we learn that 9 in 18 months, your game is over. For an example, the lesson that we are learning today called modulus functions, it has only 1.25 marks out of 100. because that is only one short question, right? Really, we have main questions, small parts, right? But mostly it's a short question. But to get this 1.25 marks, you have to spend around like 2 weeks time of learning, or else let's say 6 hours of learning. Little bit more than that need, right? So technically speaking, you need to understand this. But understanding is much more simple than practicing. Because you have to concentrate, listen, question, understand. What do you mean? Then why ගෙදර ඉන්න කට්ටියලට මේක පොඩ්ඩක් හරියට තේරුම් ගන්න වෙනවා. You can't just listen and watch and learn this. You have to interact. You have to write the answers for the questions right there and question me. Type on the chat. මොනවාදවා කියන්නේ මට තේරෙන්නේ. Right? Maybe you still realize when I'm talking, but that is not it. You feel like realizing, but you are not 100% at it unless you can do whatever the given thing 100% correct. That's called proper realization. Get my point? Right. And the other thing, the hardest part about A-levels is that we are a country where we have these kind of very bad attitudes. මම මේක ඇත්තටම අපේ රට ගැන කියන්නේ මමත් මේකට ඇතුළත් වෙලා හිටියා for a long time. I would say at least Akesh, no worries Akesh. I mean, you are usually coming for the Thursday's class, so it doesn't matter whether you are online, all right? Okay, so I was talking about, that was from Akesh, so that won't wait. Technically, අපේ රටේ පොඩි සීන් එකක් තියෙනවා. අපි කියනවා මෙහෙම කතාවක් මතක කරගන්න. ගේමක් ගහමු. ගොඩ දාමු. ගොඩ යමු. You would have heard this word. Then මීගමුව පැත්තේ කට්ටිය කියන්නේ ගොඩ දාමු කියලා. මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ මාළු අල්ලන සීන් එකේ ඉන්නේ. ඒගොල්ලෝ මාළු අල්ලලා ගොඩ දානවා. Right? ගේමක් ගහමු. Right? Scene එකේ ඉන්නේ. I mean, different words. Everything is talking about a competition. ඔයාලා තේරෙනවද මේ ගොඩ දාමු කියන්නේ ගේමක් ගහමු කියන්නේ මොකද? Competition. We have a competitive mindset. We don't think about others. We only think about ourselves. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි හැම වෙලාවෙම අපි ගොඩ කියන්න ඕනේ අනිත් එක්කන අපිට වඩා චුට්ටක් අඩුවෙන් ගොඩ යන්න. So we don't understand win-win situations. You get my point? A win-win situation in modern, entrepreneurship is actually you make a business deal where the other guy and you both are winning, or maybe 3 parties you all win in equal percentages, right? But most of our, teachers, even they don't have this attitude. They want to win themselves. Now, being a combined mathematics teacher, when I stopped my classes like 1.5 years back because I got busy with this edtech platform called primetuition.lk, I handed over all my classes to this guy. CEO cam එකේ කරන්නේ කවුද බුවාගෙන මොකද? Raj Vijay Singh, right? He's my friend. So actually I searched who's doing classes really good. So I handed over my class to Raj, right? I did it with a very good intention and he's still grateful for that. But imagine who would actually hand over a class which has like 150 students plus to someone else in the field. Now this is the problem. They would just stop it without making any solution maybe, right? So I was making my point clear that we are always in a competitive mindset. But this examination cannot be done like that. You need to find the friends who has the same vibe. You need to discuss, right? And you have to, collaborate. Then only you can win this, right? Because you can notice, I mean, you asked from your previous, Ayas and Akas, when they do A-levels, most of the people fail, especially combined mathematics and physics, chemistry. They fail. And because of this failure, there's this rumor that this is a very difficult subject. But it is not a difficult subject. The problem is there's no proper culture so that you get together and work. Right now, if you notice, now online classes, I have noticed this. I have told this in the first few sessions as well. When you come to the online class, you keep the video turned off. And you don't even use the reactions. You don't even talk much. But if you come here, you will see that in front of me, I have a projector that I can see all of you. If you turn on your videos, I just have to put the, gallery view so that I can see all of you, right? And if you talk, I have a surround sound system here. I can clearly hear what you are talking. And when you put anything on the chat, I can see that inside my projector, right? I mean, very simple. This is called a hybrid space. And there are some students, sitting here. I can talk to them as well. This is called a hybrid environment. So having all these technologies, I don't know why, in all levels, these teachers have been teaching to black color squares. And that's the main reason I ask my students when they come to online classes, please turn on your videos, or else I will give you a camera. If you don't have money to buy a camera or a webcam, or if you don't have a laptop, what I can do is I can give you a small webcam so that you can fix it, right? So this is the problem we have. We don't connect. We always try to work individually. This is not a game where you can win individually. You need to always compare yourself with other people, not as a competition, but as a collaboration. And if you do that, you win. It's better to have a friend rather than working alone, because always you get doubts in this particular subject. So to clear the doubt, peer tutoring is the best thing. What is peer tutoring? ඔයාගේම වයස එක්කෙනෙක් ඔයාට කියලා දෙනවා. මොකද්ද මේ කියලා දෙනවා කියලා ටීචර් කෙනෙක් කියලා දෙනවා වගේ මේ මචං මෙහෙම කරමුද මෙහෙම try කරලා බලමුද right මෙහෙම see. So that is a discussion. And with this discussion you develop any other subject other than combined mathematics. Let's say you take biology, physics, chemistry, accounting, business studies, economics. These subjects have knowledge that you have to gain. You need to know these things, right? There are point form questions that you can answer. If you have the knowledge, you can answer. But mathematics knowledge is not going to matter at all. Your knowledge is not going to be a thing. This is logical enough to understand, right? Knowledge goda tibila meka karanna baya. You need to reduce the knowledge but enhance the understanding. Now I'll tell you where you get wrong. ඒ තමයි අර ගේමක් ගහනවා කියන සීන් එක ළමයි not only with the students but also with the teachers. ඉතින් ඒගොල්ලෝ ගේමක් ගහන්න එක එකව කරනවා. මොනවද දන්නවද? එක they do something called model papers. I mean model papers is a lie. Why? If I can give you a model paper that is same like examination, which means I cannot teach you. That's why I'm giving you a model paper. I should be able to teach you so that you can attempt any given question. Right? Then සමහර කට්ටිය මම දැක්කම Facebook එකේ මේ Instagram, Snapchat එකේ දානවා අම්මට සිරි මම දුන්නු question එක ඒ වගේම ආව කියලා. කියන්නේ හරකෙක්. I mean if you are giving the question as it is that might come in the examination predict කරලා දෙනවා කියන්නේ ਉਹ පොරක් නෙමෙයි හොරෙක්. තේරෙනවද? If someone is telling මගේ question එක ඒ වලට ආව කියලා, if parents are happy, parents ලා හරක්. එහෙම parents ලා ඉනවනම් seriously you are හරක් because you are putting your children to a very low grade standard. ළමයාව දානවා පට්ටම හරක් මට්ටමකට because they actually think that අරස මට model question එක දුන්නා මම ඒක බැලුවා සානීයමයි මට ලකුණ හම්බුනේ. යා ගොඩ දැම්මා. හැබැයි life එකේ මොකද fail, right? Because always you don't get model questions. In the life you always get new questions like the combined maths paper. You always face new challenges. So model papers is not the thing. But when the examination is near, you know, doing the papers is good for sure, but not targeted papers. There's no point of doing targeted papers, right? කවුරුහරි හිතනවා නම් එහෙම papers කරලා ගොඩ ගිහලා ඒ වල ගොඩ දානවා කියලා, then when you go to the next field, let's say your first degree or second degree, you fail. හැබැයි ළමයි ලංකාවේ කියන මාර්ම දුකයි. This is what's happening even right now. When you go to the university first year, you have to go to something called Kuppiya, right? Why you go to a Kuppiya? Because you don't know English. අපි මේක පිළිගන්න කැමතිත් නැහැ. In most of the Sri Lankan universities, they don't know English, so they go to this Kuppi session. English medium students don't have this problem most of the time, but unfortunately, I have seen a lot of English medium students in Colombo classes coming from some schools. They don't know how to speak and understand English, so the English medium classes are done in Sinhalese. So why do we even call it English medium classes? So we have this problem. We all know this, right? So you have to battle this while all these sheeps are there. ඔයගොල්ලන්ට බොරු තමයි ගොඩක් කලකට කියන්නේ. මමත් බොරුවක් කියනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So you don't trust me. So not to believe. So I'm always asking these people, remember to forget and not to believe. So don't believe me, question me. Right? Test me. Right? Try me. Try to argue with me. Then only you will learn. Right? So anyway, we won't have this problem after 2 or 3 weeks because we are getting our own, off-grid system here, solar system. So then things would go really smooth, I guess. So what I'm telling here right now is that you need to build up a small culture around mathematics. So I'm doing it for you. Number one, I'm trying my best to give you the sense of mathematics through few different formats rather than just giving you the same conventional format, right? And you will also get tutorials like others for sure for you to not to practice but to attempt, right? Practice karana questions odakne, right? And I will give a small homework and stuff so that we can actually check day to day. And make sure that when you do these homeworks, make a PDF. And there's something called I love PDF in your Google, right? I mean, you search, you can find it. So whatever the screenshots, you can upload it to this thing and make it one PDF and create all the homework as one PDF, and you can send it to me directly. DM me, otherwise your answers will be visible to others so that they won't be able to attempt, right? And then you can actually talk to your friends and make some groups where you can discuss this mathematical content, right? At the meantime, I have planned a movie review on Discord. At the meantime, at Cinemapuram in Marine Drive, right? So the people who know Cinemapuram, you find it. Otherwise, I will send you information. So what I'm going to do is there will be few people who can attend physically. Other people, they have to come online. I'm going to stream a movie that is based on mathematics. And I'm going to explain the technical terms behind it so that you understand the movie mathematically. Right now, these things have never been done in Sri Lanka, but in other countries, these are very simple stuff. Okay. මේ magic scene නෙමෙයි. අපි ලංකාව වරුදු 20ක් විතර පිටිපස්සෙන් ඉන්න තමයි මේ දැන්. Technologically we are advanced, but still we are searching about how the teacher is actually wearing. And I have actually broken that rule long time back. When I was teaching in ladies college itself, I have told the principal that if you are taking me in, you have to take me as it is. That's my attitude. Right? But still, I had spiked hair and stuff, right? So I mean, they had to get me because they wanted me, right? So similarly, so what you are telling is, here you need to break the culture. Conventional video idala make igana ganna bad, right? If you are still thinking about how teacher is teaching, that is not the case. It's about how you are working, right? Teacher question karan nathang, that's your fault. And if you are not clearing your doubts at the end of the day, when the lesson is over, that's your problem. You need to make sure that you are 100% live and attentive for a session, right? And from next week onwards, when you are working, if there's anyone who's coming online, make sure that you turn on your video. And if you don't have a video device, I mean, please find it. And again, if there's any finance issue in terms of finding such a video device, I can actually deliver it to you. And I don't depend on tuition, and my main income is not tuition. I'm an entrepreneur, and I have like few different entities starting from education technology up to entertainment technology, right? So technically speaking, this is my passion. Mathematics is my passion. So I did teaching for like 7-8 years, started from 2013 here, and I taught in 4 schools, right? Now I'm doing this because I want to teach something very different from the things that I used to teach those days. And I feel like to cover the A-level syllabus, you need only 18 months, and that can be done easily. You will realize by next week, you will be doing A-level questions. Who would do A-level questions on the second day of the class? Because most of the time, you do these things like gap courses, right? There's no point. There's no gap between O and A-level. O-level is different thing. A-level is different thing. O-level, A-level don't know. O-levels, we use a compass. A-level, we don't even touch the compass. O-level, we have log tables. A-level, we don't even touch log tables. Right? O-level maths A-level mathematics is caliber. It's class, right? It's the mathematics by definition. I mean, you can't even call that's part of mathematics. I mean, this is giving you real sense. So let me explain in pure mathematics. The base is algebra and trigonometry. Algebra carries around 500 marks in several questions, where trigonometry carries around 200 marks, right? But the remaining questions like calculus and stuff is also like the heart of it, because calculus is also playing a major role in applied mathematics as well. So calculus is also important, right? When you go to applied mathematics, it is basically based on statics, dynamics, and statistics and probability. Now, when you say statics, dynamics, you might feel like physics, but it is not physics. Physics is knowledge, mathematics is applications. So if you think that when you do applied mathematics good, your physics knowledge will be good, wrong. There are two things once again, right? Then samara kattiya bio karana balan inne maths panthi wala dena. Evilla kiyana mama maths class එකකට යනවා physics පොඩ්ඩක් ගොඩ දා ගන්න ඕනේ right කියලා. A gom part, if you do biology, please go to a physics class and learn physics. Don't come to maths classes, to be honest, right? But if you really want to learn mathematics while doing biology, why not learn? Learn, please. Because your learning is not only for examinations, your learning is for your life. I don't teach you to get results. I will teach, you will get results. That is the reason I don't market results. I have even got I learned 10th rank, in 2016 itself. One of my students called Anuttara from Devi College. But, Devi Bahalika, right? There's no Devi College. So technically speaking, why I don't advertise them too much? Because that's their result. It's not my result. Right? What I do is actually giving you the guidance. And I do it freely in my mind. And I don't hesitate much about that. So technically speaking, when you come to this particular standard, you need to realize that it's all about self-learning and collaborating. You are not wasting your time. Bim sir, I am on a class. Can I call you back in like few minutes time? Right. So technically, I'm asking you to prepare yourself for a better competition without competing with your own colleagues. Your competition is with the examination. අනේ මේ වටපිටාවෙන් ළමයි කවට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ හැමෝම කම්පීට් කරන්නේ එකම එක්සෑම් එක. මේ ශිෂ්‍යත්ව මානසිකත්වය තමයි අවුල කරන්නේ. ඇයි ශිෂ්‍යත්ව කාලේ මොකද කරන්නේ? Parents also go to the class. අම්මලත් ගේමේ ඉන්නේ ළමයිනුත් ගේමේ ඉන්නේ. ටීචර්ත් ගේමේ ඉන්නේ. හැමෝම හින සීන් එකේ ඉන්නේ. අද කොහොමද ගානවා? අර අනිත් එකට ගහලා දින සීන් එකේ ඉන්නේ. Even I did that crazy thing, to be honest. මගේ ක්ලාස් එකේ ඉඳලා තාරුකා කියලා ගෑල්ලා මේක. අදටත් මතකයි. තාරුකා හොඳට perform කරනවා කියලා ඉතින් හාගෙන කතාව දියා කියනවා. යාට මේ මොනවද නම්මන ඉස්කෝලේ අර award සම්මනවලු යාට ලකුණු වැඩිලු දැන්. එයාගේ අම්මා වෙලා හෙන ටෝක් එකක් දෙනවා. දැන් මගේ අම්මා එන්නේ නැහැ ක්ලාස් එකට. මාව කැපෙනවා හැමදාම. මම මොකද කරේ? I took this one drawing pin. A drawing pin තියෙන ළමයි අර ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවනේ අර බිත්ති වල එහෙම ගන්න drawing pins. මේ ළමයා අඳන් එනවා ගවුමක් මෙහෙම අර ලස්සන මේ කාටුන්ස් වල වගේ. මට මතක නැහැ ලස්සන කාටුන් එකක් තියෙනවා. ඩැෆ්නිද මොකක්ද ඉන්නව අඳන් ඉන්නවා වගේ ගවුමක්. හරිද? මම මොකද කරේ? ගාන්න තිබ්බා මේසෙන් අර drawing pin එක කෙල්ලැල්ල වාඩනවා කෙලිම යනුණා කෑ ගහගෙන ගියා. මට මාර සතුටුයි. But that is wrong. Because there is competitive attitude. ඇයි මම හිතනවා මගේ එහා පැත්තේ ඉන්න කෙනා මගේ කවුද? enemy කියලා. Your friends are not your enemies. Your friends are your colleagues. ඔයගොල්ලෝ compete කරන්නේ අනේ exam එකක් එක්ක. In the examination, if you all perform good, all can get A's. හිතලා බලන්න. දැන් හැමෝම හොඳට ලකුණු ගත්තොත් හැමෝටම A එන්න ඕනේ. Unfortunately, in our country, the number of seats in universities is less. That is why these kind of things are here. Is it go and start? Because you have less opportunities. But you are English medium students. You have opportunities worldwide, right? I got my scholarship from University of Hertfordshire, England, right? So I was learning my first degree in England. I did my MSc in Colombo University, right? So basically, there are many other opportunities in the whole world. It is not limited within the country. As you are English medium students, very important. Then Sinhala medium කට්ටියත් මේක කරන්න පුළුවන් for sure. But the problem is they have this කඩ issue. ඒගොල්ලෝ කඩ කියන එකට බය වෙලා. ඉතින් අපි මොනවා කරන්නේ? Right? So you have to actually get into the culture. So that's a very simple thing. It's just one language. I speak Hindi, I speak Urdu, I speak Punjabi, I speak Afghan. So I learned everything while living with those kind of people, just by listening. So learning a language is not a big thing, right? 11 වසරනකම් මම තර්ස්ටන් එකේ හිටපු බයියෙක්. I couldn't speak, කඩ. But when I went to Lyceum, within 6 months, I picked it up. So what? I mean, if I could do it, you can do it, better than me. Right? Because you are living in the era of information technology. Knowledge is in front of you, right? You can Google anything. You can verify things. People can't lie. But for some reason, still, we are keeping you on a track, not me, but the majority are keeping you on a track where the knowledge is only in tutorials. That's not correct. I bought some books here. This will be very important for you. These books are done by a person called Loni. Loni කියන්නේ ලංකාවේ පොරක් නෙමෙයි ළමයි. And there's another book by Oxford University. ළමයි මේ සෙට් එකේ තියෙනවා තමයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ A-level paper එකේ බඩු සීන් එකේ තියෙන්නේ, right? Nothing special. The formats of the questions are from these books, right? I'll show you these books. You can buy this from Sarasavi or any other thing. And I'm trying on Amazon to get the PDFs. I couldn't find because they are very old, right? For an example, this one, I'll show you. This is Lonnie's Treatise of Statics and Dynamics. මේ එනේ චුට්ටි පොත් ළමයි රුපියල් 450ක පොත්, right? And this consists of everything you have in advanced level dynamics. This is part 2, right? මේ බලන්න අනිත් එක. This is statics, right? This is once again by Lonnie. මේවා මේ පට්ට පරණ පොත් ළමයි ඒකයි සීන් එක. This print is, so you can see my print එක දැක්කහම මේ එපා වෙනවා. Right? These are very old books, but you can read and you can get a lot of questions here. You can attempt, right? You don't have to, depend on these tutorials given by tutors, right? I mean, make Sherlock Holmes for that. Right. So this is once again statics, but a better print. Again, font take a look. What the same thing, right? And then once again, this is coordinate geometry by S.L. Loney. And I couldn't bring two books because it was out of stock. That is Loney's Treatise of Trigonometry. And there is a lot of, these equations and stuff. Not only equations, but also applicationary sense of equations, right? So you can actually do a lot of questions, if you have those books, right? So I'm trying to get, actually I had a chat with Sarasai today. I'm trying to get few stocks here in the institute. So anyone comes here, they can actually buy from the institute, and I'm not going to keep any cut, okay? Make a business. So I will give it the same rate. I don't need any profit out of that. So people, if you can buy it from Sarasai, if they have stocks in case, or any other bookshop around the country, you better buy the Loney's books. Loney ke nama ini lama L-O-N-E-Y, Loney, right? Me Loney ke neke nama ke yalu ekak manusene merla den, right? So I'm not promoting any product, okay? In the Loney ke pot set gattana, you have the whole syllabus within, but algebra is not done by Loney, right? For algebra, this is Bostock and Chandler, the very famous book, right? I algebra scene neka sampurna. The A-level syllabus. Make a copy kalla dama lanka pod gahana katti ho gala gahana. So technically speaking, all the texts are here, but the thing is they are all international books. You can see that, right? So technically, I'll send you the list of these books as well. Who is the other sir? I don't know. I think you're talking about pure mathematics book writer. That is L. Bostock and S. Chandler. And the name of the book is Pure Mathematics. This has, everything starting from algebra to trigonometry, right? So, I'll try whether I can find these PDFs from Amazon. If it is possible, you don't have to pay. I will put everything on the WhatsApp group, right? And then coming back to the point, now we have only 18 months, right? Just imagine we have 18 months because my target is working on 18 months on this. We have 14 questions. Out of that, you are going to do 10 questions and 20 short questions. Again, 20 plus 10 plus, that's it. 20 plus 10 again, 30. First, try to understand, right? If someone is trying to make it a big deal, don't get the hesitation. Psychological pressure first term test right? You should be able to overcome these challenges. Every end of month, I am having a test. So you test yourself and I will give you marks, right? Every 3 months, we will have a bigger test from the 3 months stuff. Every 6 months, we will have a much bigger test from all 6 months stuff. So likewise, we'll, advance ourselves, right? And when you work out little by little, you will reach that particular format. So this is not a difficult subject. Right? In the Kaurari Kiran, difficult Gila, Gila, Kantaga again, Laragila, Diagelekin, Ogan, Diagan, Maracola, may Yagi videos here ban, may combine as well MC and Nagi. Right? I'm telling you honestly, because I felt really bad when I was learning combined mathematics. Most of the teachers made it very uncomfortable. And unfortunately, we didn't have even English medium teachers in the country that particular time. Right? Resources, and you have online resources, you have references. So don't think that you are like misguided by anyone. You have to know the right information, right? Okay. So the Bana part is over. So let's come back to the topic. And that is very important the very first day. That's the reason I'm talking about it. So we were on modulus functions, and modulus function is about the absolute value, isn't it? Modulus function is all about the absolute value. Absolute value is a representative of the magnitude. Simple as that. So it's always positive, no negativities, just positive, right? And positive without a mark is the magnitude. Simple as that. But our question was, what if we have variables getting into it? So we overcame this by thinking if x is greater than or equal to 0, then it has to be positive. And if x is less than 0, we have to make it positive by multiplying it by -1. That's why it became minus x. And then we started sketching them using simple bit of sense of Cartesian coordinate plane. Having only 2 points, we were able to sketch them, isn't it? This is the y-axis, this is the x-axis. So far, so good. We know that we get these kind of poker shape, curves for that. And these are curves, even though they are not curved. දැන් මට ඕන ඔය චුට්ට කියලා වුණත් මේ පාඩමේ වල ගන්න තිබ්බා. But then you won't understand. I mean, from simple scripts, mathematics has been taught in history. For an example, I'll show you how Vedic mathematics work. Right now, we are actually stuck in this. This Western psychology of mathematics that is pretty long. Now, when you want to get the square of 25, right? Now we do this lot of things, right? 25 times 25. But ancient mathematicians, they did like this: 25. This is the first term. And 1 more than 2 is 3. I mean, if you add 1, so 2 is 3. And 3 times 2 is 6. And the square is 625. That's it. And that was given by just one script. That was called Ekadikena Purvena. 1 more than the one before. So if you have 45 squared, 1 more than the one before. This is 1 before. 4 is 1 before. 1 more than 4 is 5. So you write 5. And 4 times 5 is 20, if I'm not wrong. And 5 squared is 25. So 45 squared is 2025. You can even work in your head. Just imagine 35. 3 times 4 is 12. 1225 is the square of 35. 1 more than the one before. 1 more than the one before. That's it. Just one script, game is over. You can square anything that ends up with 5. I mean, these are like small tricks, but we don't use in A-level mathematics for sure. But I mean, the people who are like obsessed with multiplication and stuff, you can show it until multiplication is shit. This is lit, isn't it? So, similarly, they had many other applications. I'll show you another nice one. Just imagine if you want to multiply 12 by 13. So they use a concept called chapa. What is chapa? This is 1, 1, 2. That is 12. And this is 1, 1, 1, 1. That is 13. And the chapas. So chapas will actually, that's the Indian word for these arcs, right? So that will actually separate what? The zones. Look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 intersections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 intersections. 1 intersection. So 12 times 13 is 1, 5, 6. Simple. Right? Our multiplication. Right? Yes, Indian calculating method. This is Vedic mathematics. Right? So you know how this Vedic mathematics came into the action. Because there was this mathematician called Brahmagupta, and Brahmagupta was a nice mathematician, came up with a lot of other, inventions, not only in number theory, but also in, astronomy, right? So this guy had a daughter, right? For the very first time in his family, he had a daughter. Unfortunately, Indian culture thinks that having a daughter is not good. Why? Because they think they cannot continue their knowledge base. Right? But that's a bullshit idea, but that's how they thought. But somehow, this guy was pretty liberal and he thought, okay, I'm going to teach mathematics to my daughter. Unfortunately, he found out after 3 months that the daughter is blind. And another thing, her mother passed away. The daughter's name was Leelavati. And he went to the jungle to meditate. After 6 years, he came back to the house and asked for Leelavati. And when Leelavati was up, he said, okay, I'm going to teach her mathematics. So people thought he's crazy. Right? And he asked his brother to bring the tabla. And with the beads, he taught her numbers. Right? For an example, when you go to 3-4 beat, right? I mean, it's about number 3. When you go to 6-8 beat, it's about number 6. I mean, you can articulate any number out of sounds. So he could do that. And then he wrote these scripts like Udvati Rak Bharam, Ekadikena Purvena, these Sanskrit stuff that I'm talking about. And starting from numbers up to calculus, he wrote a book called Leelavati. That book is still available. And that consists of everything starting from algebra or Bijaganita, I would say in Indian, it's called Bijaganita. Right now we call Bijaganita. In Western mathematics called algebra. Once again, it's coming from Persian mathematicians book called, Al-Kitab, Al-Karim, Al-Muqabala, Al-Jabir. That is a different book that is coming from Persia. But Bijaganita was there in India as well. Right? So you can understand this is a whole different level. And I'm making it fast because I don't want to waste a lot of time on this story. But search on history of mathematics. There are a lot of nice things that you can find to inspire yourself to become a proper mathematician. Right? It's not anywhere else. Right? අල්ලපු ගෙදර අයියා ඉංජිනේර කෙනෙක් වෙලා සයිට් එකේ ගිහලා පස් කපනවා කියලා ඒක බල්ලි වෙලා ඉංජිනේර කෙනෙක් වෙන්න මැතමැටික්ස් කරන්න එපා. Because mathematics is much more than that. Right? Mathematics have changed the world. The second world war was won by a mathematician called Alan Turing. He broke the machine called Enigma that was built by Nazis. And that new machine was called Christopher. And that machine was the one that introduced binary and hexadecimal. And later that became the first human or digital computer, right? So, these Apple phones, there's a mark where this Apple is beaten. Why? Because Alan Turing was did because of this Apple beaten part because he was gay. Those days, gays were not actually, allowed in the government. So, they had to eat a poisoned apple for euthanasia. That's a legal suicide. This is manusia antimidi okala mala. ඒ මනුස්සයාට පිම්පිනිස ඇපල් එක කට්ටිය කෑල්ලක් කපලා දැම්මා. ඔක තමයි සීන් එක. Right? So Alan Turing is one biggest part in chain of mathematics. John Nash, one of the best mathematicians, we call beautiful mind. You can watch these movies, right? And this guy came up with the idea called governing dynamics. And that is where all these new economics and financial mathematics have been derived, right? I mean, you have to see the nice applications of golden ratio in mathematics. I mean, mathematics is a very beautiful subject, right? So don't limit yourself for any particular syllabus or any particular identification of mathematics or any particular task or a profession. This is not going to end in one profession. There are a lot of professions a mathematician can do, right? So there are a lot of stories to carry. There are a lot of concepts for you to understand, and there will be a lot of things we have to experiment, right? So make sure that you do the homework, and I'm not going to write down all the homework here because you all are on the WhatsApp group. So I'm going to share those 9 questions I gave all these people on the first session and the second session, which is equivalent to this particular session. And also syllabus manual has been sent on the WhatsApp group. I will send it once again. You can go through. And from second week, people, we have to charge you guys. We can't let you enter every day free of charge, unfortunately. So what will happen? There are different payment methods. And first of all, we will be sending you a small Google form to get all your information. And our people will do all the login information for it, and we'll give you the login for primetuition.lk. And the payments can be done online, offline, whatever the format that you prefer. And the people who are coming physical, they can come and pay to the institution, right? So whatever the format you would like to pay, you can make the payment. It's going to be $6.09 per month, which is around 3,300 Sri Lankan rupees, right? So all this information will be sent on the WhatsApp group. So I don't think I should not actually waste that time on this particular speech. So we are at the end of the lesson, right? And I hope that you enjoyed modulus functions and its basic understanding part, right? So once again, reminding you, modulus function is about the magnitude. It's about the absolute value of constants and variables. And when you come to variables, we have to go for the graphical interpretation of that. And this is what we were trying. And this is what we will try for the next week as well, with the examination level questions as well. So I'm going to finish it now. So if you have any questions, doubts, comments, suggestions, anything, just put to the WhatsApp group right after the class, and your comments can actually make me much stronger. So whatever the comment that you have about the class and the questions we did and the arguments we built up, and if you have any doubts about it, please question on the group. When you ask a question on the group, that makes the other people also to be curious on whatever the path that you are thinking. So it's better that you ask questions to the group rather than sending me direct messages. Send me a DM only when we are sending homework. All right. So after the class, I'm going to send you all the homework tutorial and also the syllabus manual once again on the WhatsApp group. So this class is open for not only for 2024 ones, but also for 23 students. So you will be learning at the same platform, same subject, same format. And with the corona, I know the 23 guys had a bit of a delay. So you can easily learn with 2024 people. And the paper classes will start for the both classes separately in two different junctions, right? So that we can actually make a proper equilibrium between the two classes, right? Okay, so I'm going to finish it off. If you have any further questions, suggestions, comments, as I said, please put on the WhatsApp group. And the people who came from Mr. Tehran's referral, I thank you for you guys to join here. And Tehran was one of my very good friends and I'm the best IT teacher in the country, for, as far as I know. Right, so I mean, now he's in UK, but still doing proper online classes, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't have these electricity issues and stuff. Right, so technically speaking, I should thank him officially in front of you guys. Please pass my message to him, and then I'm going to finish it. I hope you guys who are in front of me, you got the ideas pretty clearly, right? And next week we will start applying these things onto the advanced level examination questions and see. All right, then goodbye. Have a nice week, nice day, and we will send you all the information on the WhatsApp group. God bless.